Welcome to this session on which BI tool is right for you. This is part of a three-part series where we'll explore the benefits and challenges of operational e-business suite reporting in three different BI tools: Oracle BI, Tableau, and ClickView. My name is Jay Shipley. I'm a Director of Engineering at Magnitude Software, and I have responsibility for the Noetix Generator line of products, which focuses on integrating our flagship Noetix Views and Noetix Analytics products with the leading BI tools in the industry. I have 16 years in the software industry, and I've been at Noetix and Magnitude for 14 of those years. And with my responsibility over the Noetix Generator line of products, I have broad experience with the leading BI tools used by our customers. If you're unfamiliar with Magnitude Software, we were formerly Noetix and now are part of a merger between Noetix and Kaleido, which is a data warehouse automation and master data management company. We have 10 enterprise-ready products that are being used by over 600 customers and have a strong user population. Our customers are dispersed in various countries around the world, and we've partnered with Oracle and the leading BI tool manufacturers, as you can see here. Our customers come from a wide range of different industries, from retail to manufacturing, from the financial industry, and also higher education. And those customers have many different options for operational reporting against eBusiness Suite. Some of the leading tools used by our customers are shown on the screen here, but for this series we'll focus on just three. And we've chosen these three because we feel they really bookend the spectrum of BI capabilities, with Oracle BI on one side and Tableau and ClickView on the other. In this series we'll do a different type of BI tool comparison than you may be familiar with if you've looked around for other videos like these on the internet. We'll certainly look at the benefits and challenges of these BI tools, just like in other comparisons, but we'll focus on the part that we believe is usually overlooked, and that's the data provisioning aspect of BI tools. And by data provisioning, I mean providing connectivity to the underlying data sources, whether it's eBusiness Suite or another data source, representing the data in that data source in a business-friendly manner that end users can use, and then finally securing the data from that data source so that only the right rows of data go to the right users in the enterprise. There are various points that you should consider as you are selecting a BI tool or set of BI tools to use in your enterprise. The first one is whether or not your tool of choice will be used as an enterprise-wide solution or will be focused on just supporting a certain department or set of departments. In addition, it's important to understand the level of technical expertise available in the enterprise or in the department and their bandwidth for system administration. Next, the level of need for self-service BI, whether that's from a data access standpoint, so the ability to access different data sources on your own, or also from a data integration standpoint, so the ability to integrate data from different data sources together. And then finally, the level of need for traditional BI capabilities, such as scheduled delivery, report or dashboard bursting, and then data or row-level security on top of those reports and dashboards within the system. For this series, I will be using Noetix Views as my data source, and specifically we'll focus on accounts receivable using a Noetix view called AR Margins that exposes margins out of the accounts receivable Oracle eBusiness Suite application. Some of the code that backs up that AR margins view is shown on the screen here. And without the use of this view, I would have to write that code as part of this demonstration, and it would probably take much longer than you're willing to listen to and watch in the time allotted. So I'll be using this AR margins view for the demonstrations in the 3 tools that will be a part of this series. In this session, we'll take a look at Tableau. Tableau has focused its efforts on the data discovery and data analysis section of business intelligence, and has provided 4 different flavors of Tableau that can be used. The first and probably most well-known is Tableau Desktop, which, as the name implies, is a desktop PC-based tool that can be downloaded and used by end users to create data visualizations or dashboards directly from their PC. Tableau Server is meant for the enterprise market and is a server-based offering that allows users of Tableau Desktop to publish the work that they've done on their desktop to the server, and then therefore can share it with share dashboards with other users. And then from Tableau Server, IT can manage data latency, security, and other IT-related activities around Tableau dashboards. Tableau Online is a cloud-based version of Tableau that can be used through a subscription model to create and share dashboards through their web-based interface. Tableau Public is similar to Tableau Online, but it's meant for essentially public use against public data sets like census data or traffic data that can be shared with the general public on the internet. Tableau is based on an in-memory data engine, which provides a very rich user experience when users are building and viewing visualizations created in Tableau. This in-memory engine allows users to slice and dice and explore their data very rapidly. Tableau does provide both desktop and web-based authoring and viewing experiences. So Tableau Desktop is the desktop-based experience, and then the other 3 offerings provide a web-based experience. As I said earlier, Tableau Server provides a portal capability, so that's the kind of the place to centralize work done in Tableau and share and collaborate on data visualizations. Tableau does support both real-time data access, so it can query data sources in real time, but it also has what they call an extract capability, and so that's a caching mechanism that can be used to extract data from the data sources used by Tableau and then cache them in a format that can then be used by one or more workbooks within Tableau. A workbook in Tableau is a dashboard or a visualization. And Tableau does provide native data connectors for a whole host of different data sources, whether they are file-based sources like an Excel spreadsheet or an XML file, or a traditional database like SQL Server or Oracle, or many different cloud-based sources. So that's a very brief overview of Tableau. I'm going to now go into a demonstration of how to use Tableau Desktop, and we'll focus, just like we have on the other sessions that I've done, on data provisioning. So the work we need to do to actually connect to our data and make it available for visualization within Tableau. So in Tableau, once you launch Tableau Desktop, it provides you with a screen that allows you to connect to any of the different sources that you see on the left, and then there are are beyond those most popular sources. There are additional ones that you can select from as well. And so if our data is in Excel or, as I said, an XML file, you can quickly connect to those file-based sources, or in the case of Oracle E-Business Suite, which is our source for today, you can connect directly to a relational database like Oracle. So in this demonstration, we'll be connecting to Oracle. Once I select Oracle as my source, Tableau provides me with a dialog to provide connectivity information to my E-Business Suite database. So once I provide that, I can then start selecting what from that data source I want to pull into Tableau and visualize in a dashboard. Once Tableau has connected to my data source, it provides me with a list of database schemas that I can access, and that is shown here in the drop-down on the left of this dialog. And once I select a schema that I want to pull data from, I can then either see a full list of database objects, so tables or views within that schema that I can select from, or I can narrow my selection using their search capability. Once I have found the object or objects that I want to pull data from, I can easily select them and then add them to the data source, the Tableau data source that I'm creating here. So in this case, I've selected a database view that has accounts receivable margin information, and once I select that view, they show me a preview of the columns in the view, which is shown at the bottom of the screen, and also a preview of the data that's available from that view. If I'd like, I could add additional views or tables and then define how they are joined together to make a more complex data set that I could use in Tableau. At the upper right, if I'd like, I can add filters to my data set and narrow the data coming back from the database. And then to the left of the filter capability, there's a couple options for how I should connect. The default is to connect live, which is a real-time query to the data source, or I can also choose to create an extract from this data source, and then if I choose that option, Tableau will provide me with some additional capabilities to choose additional filtering and provide refresh schedules and those sorts of things. So this is the first step in connecting Tableau to your data source. At the lower left, if I didn't want to use simple objects and by just dragging and dropping views or tables and creating filters, I could create a SQL statement using the new custom SQL option at the lower left there of the screen. And if I'm a more technical user and familiar with the SQL language, I could use that to create a more complex data set for Tableau. So now I'm going to actually launch Tableau, and we'll finish out the rest of the demo live in Tableau. Once it launches, I'll show you what Tableau Desktop looks like. So Tableau has now opened. This Tableau workbook happens to point directly to an extract that I created earlier, so I've already run a query pulling in accounts receivable margin information and saved it to an extract to make this demonstration faster. But once I have done that work, you can see the data or a subset of the data that's available in this extract. And now on the bottom left, if I switch from the Data Source tab to Sheet 1, I can now start building my Tableau workbook through the rest of this interface. So on the left here, Tableau shows me a representation of the data source that I've connected to, and they provide two different panes, a dimensions pane at the top that has all of the dimensions that they found in my data source, and then a measures pane at the bottom that has all of the measures that they found in my data source. At this point, I can now just start dragging and dropping columns from the dimensions pane or the measures pane into the default crosstab visualization to start exploring my data. So for this demonstration, we'll grab the customer category, and I can drop it directly into the display. Because the data is already cached behind the scenes by Tableau, I see the data from my data source in real time. So we've grabbed the customer category dimension. Let's grab the item cost measure. We'll also grab the margin and revenue. And so again, just like with the measure, we're seeing the data now aggregated for each item or for each customer category in our display here. Tableau does have the ability to create hierarchies, and so there are a couple of them here in my dimensions pane. There's one based on location, so country, city, state, or country, state, city, and then also one based on some time dimension information around the invoice year. So if I'd like, I can drag that hierarchy into the columns area, and then again my display changes, now showing me information by invoice year. If I want to drill through that, I can simply just continue to hit the plus icon in my hierarchy, and Tableau will automatically drill into more detail through that hierarchy. Tableau has a show me area that has different types of visualizations that I can use to represent my data. The default is this crosstab style Excel-like tabular representation of my data, but I can select different types of representations that they will then change the data to automatically. You'll notice that some visualizations are grayed out here, so Tableau does have an algorithm that analyzes the data set that I've selected, and they will recommend the most appropriate visualizations based on what you've selected. And so this is a very simple representation. As you saw, it only took a couple of minutes to build a crosstab and then switch it to a quick bar chart. If we spend a little more time in Tableau, we can build a dashboard with a little more complexity, which I'll show you now. So this is an accounts receivable margin summary dashboard that I built with a little more work. It's made up of a number of different worksheets. So Tableau uses the same kind of terminology that Excel does. You can have any number of worksheets which are represented by different tabs at the bottom, and they are housed in a workbook. So that is the Tableau file that I've saved that is this AR margin summary dashboard. And so I have a worksheet for my product chart, time-based chart, invoice detail information, and so on. And then I've created a dashboard that mashes up the visualizations from each of those different charts into a single dashboard display. As I did this, I also configured these different visualizations to have some interaction between them. So at the top here, we have a slider for invoice year, and I can select a specific year, and the other visualizations or charts and tables in the dashboard automatically adjust, filtering based on the year that I've selected. Within those charts, I can also configure some interactivity there if we want to look at this Envoy Deluxe laptop, I can select one of the bars there and drill into more detail about that specific product. And then my chart by time automatically adjusts, so we can now see what our metrics look like for that product as time went on in the year 2000, and then detail information at the bottom as well. So that's a very quick demonstration of the some of the capabilities within Tableau. I'm going to switch back to my presentation, and we'll now take a look at some of the benefits and challenges that our customers have experienced using Tableau. And so the first benefit, and probably the most obvious one, is its rich data visualization capabilities. And so these benefits and challenges are striped on the left side for the line of business and on the right for the IT department. And for the line of business, Tableau really provides them a very rich experience beyond many other tools on the market. And the in-memory technology that is behind Tableau and behind that rich visualization experience allows them to slice and dice and explore their data in a very fast manner. They don't have to wait for individual queries to run against a server to bring back different data sets as they drill into more detail. From an IT standpoint, this rich visualization and in-memory capability means that IT doesn't have to focus as much on caching and other data movement solutions if the extract capability within Tableau is sufficient to meet their needs. The second most powerful thing that we found with Tableau is that it's very easy to use. So from a line of business standpoint, a finance department, an HR department can quickly come up to speed on Tableau and really use it as a self-service tool that doesn't require a lot of IT involvement for them to be able to use. While you can create data sets by coding up complex SQL statements, you don't have to do that. You can easily drag and drop, and so no real SQL encoding experience is required to use Tableau. From an IT standpoint, unlike traditional BI tools, they don't have to create a semantic model before end users can start using Tableau, which means deployment, at least initially, is much faster than with a traditional BI tool. Tableau also allows an enterprise to go from a set of ungoverned visualizations or dashboards to governed ones. And so with Tableau Desktop, a line of business user can quickly come up to speed and start building their own dashboards and visualizations just within their department. That allows them to work really on their own without a lot of needed help from the IT department. Once their visualizations or dashboards become mission critical and necessary to run the business, they can be published to the larger enterprise through Tableau server. And then from an IT standpoint, IT can now start focusing on managing those published workbooks or dashboards. And so for IT, the fact that end users can use Tableau in a self-service manner means that IT does not have to be in the business of writing all of the reports for consumption by the line of business. They can really shift a lot of that responsibility to the line of business so that they can focus on just powering up the line of business to be able to meet their own reporting needs. In the same vein, the IT department no longer has to be responsible for gathering and vetting data analysis requirements with the line of business. The line of business can do that on their own, and IT can focus more on making sure that the workbooks and dashboards that have been considered critical for business use and worthy to be published to Tableau server, IT can focus on validating that the data is accurate within those workbooks, that the data latency requirements, so how recent the data has to be and how frequently it needs to be refreshed, can be handled. And they can also focus on data security, so making sure that only the right users are able to see the appropriate dashboards. For all of the benefits of Tableau, there are some challenges. So if you remember back to my demonstration, the first thing I needed to do when I connected to Oracle eBusiness Suite was I had to provide Tableau with a set of database credentials. And so data access can be one of the challenging areas of Tableau, especially for the line of business. If I'm a line of business user and I need access to my eBusiness Suite data, I will most likely have to go to IT to obtain a database account in order to access that data. The other thing you may have noticed when I went through the demo is that as an author looking at my eBusiness Suite database, I'm presented with a fairly raw look at the underlying data model within that database. And so that can be a pretty technical view of the data if it's not organized into a set of business views or some other more business-friendly layer. And so as an end user, I would have to wade through that, which might require me to be a bit more technical in order to really understand where my data lives in my data source. From an IT standpoint, I'll have to deal with the line of business and users coming to me and asking for database accounts in order to make use of Tableau to get to their data. And so that may have maintenance implications on IT, where they'll now have to maintain a set of database accounts for certain super users or set of end users, and that might increase, have a cost increase associated with it, depending on how the database or access to the data source has been licensed from the vendor of that data source. In addition, because my end users would be shown a much more technical view of their data, I may need to be responsible for transforming that data into a much more business-friendly structure, maybe through database views or some other mechanism, so that my end users are not looking directly at the underlying OLTP database. Beyond data access, data integration is another challenge within Tableau. So from a line of business standpoint, I can connect to different data sources and integrate data, but the capabilities to do that really are fairly limited within Tableau, which has implications for IT because there are minimal self-service data integration capabilities available to my end user population. IT would be responsible then for doing that data integration upstream from Tableau and then providing the integrated data set to their Tableau end users to make use of. Data security is another area that can be challenging within Tableau. From a line of business standpoint, if I'm using Tableau Desktop and have a model where I'm sharing my workbooks with my colleagues through email or some other mechanism, that decentralized administration model means that I, as the end user, would be responsible to make sure that I'm complying with my company's data security needs. From an IT standpoint, that means that auditing and making sure that the enterprise is complying with those security policies can be difficult. The fact that Tableau Desktop can create files that are very similar to Excel spreadsheets and that they can be shared just like spreadsheets with anyone else who has Tableau Desktop can increase those security concerns within an enterprise. Data consistency is also another challenge within Tableau. The fact that individual users can build their own Tableau workbooks against spreadsheets or XML files or data dumps from different places means that it's possible to have a problem knowing what your single version of the truth is, and users would have to work together to validate which version of a particular visualization or dashboard is really the correct one. From an IT standpoint, the fact that data sources which are embedded in those Tableau workbooks can be distributed across different end user desktops and PCs makes it difficult to manage structural changes to those data sources. So if something changes in my underlying e-business suite system, for example, maybe a key flex field or some other change is made, those data sources would need to be updated to recognize and use those new key flex fields, and they may exist in many different places. So that can create a challenge for IT to ensure that their data access layer is always up to date and in sync with the underlying data source. We've gone through a very quick overview of Tableau, seen a demo of how to provision data in Tableau and build a very quick visualization of that data, and then looked at some of the benefits and challenges of Tableau. I hope this has been an informative session for you. If you have questions and need more information, feel free to contact us at www.noetix.com. Thank you.